guys, we are back working on the airboat today. So as you guys saw, we left off with getting this thing fired up. We have our propeller on there, but there's still a lot we got to get done on the airboat before it's ready for a water test. So today we're just going to go ahead and start buttoning this thing up a little bit. If you look right over here, we have ourselves a radiator. Got this guy in the mail today, and then we also have our Hot Boy Honda intercooler for our turbocharged airboat here. And I have decided that we're just going to run the GT35 82R turbo that is on there. It's a little big, I think, for the airboat, but we'll see what it does. I think this thing's going to be pretty loaded up with the propeller and everything. So we'll see what that turbo does on our airboat. The radiator will go right back here, like so. Took some measurements. We have this nice little pocket for the radiator to go into right there. We'll be getting that guy mounted up hopefully today. Then we don't know where we're going to put the intercooler just yet, but we have a couple options. And then quick list, we don't have too much that really needs to get done on the boat before it can see the water. So we have to complete the turbo kit, which includes the intercooler, the piping, blow-off valve, wastegate, everything that goes along with the turbo kit. We need a throttle cable. We need to finish the motor mounts because it's still held on with the C-clamps right here. So we need to get all the motor mounts squared away, get that thing solid. We need to get a cable and hook up the rudders to the steering rod right here, to the arm. We need to get the radiator mounted, cooling system. We need the fuel system done, which we have the 20-gallon cell for, which will go right down there. We have to get our fuel lines ran, get that done, and then get a battery and wire everything up. And in theory, we should be good to get this thing on the water, start tuning on it, and see what happens. So we're just gonna go ahead and start getting to it, getting this airboat ready for the water. All right, guys, radiator is installed. You guys got that knocked out. Just a nice, simple little tab up top. Drilled a couple holes. There was already this piece of angle iron right down here, so just drilled through that, and the radiator's in place. That is actually a full-size radiator off of an Integra, so that fits perfectly on our airboat. And now we gotta figure out where we wanna put this intercooler. So my original thought with this intercooler was I wanted to put it right here. That's what I measured for. I was thinking up under here, we could go off that side with the turbo, come in this side, and this side could go up to the intake over there. And that was the original thought, but after looking around, we thought it would look a lot cooler to go up here. And then we'd have
Honda boys at heart, baby.
And then we'd have the fan pulling air through it as well, so it'd be functional. So I think that's what we're gonna try to do. And then the charge pipe can just come up and into it and then go down right into the intake and be simple enough. So we're thinking something like that, just front and center. And call it good.
Let it ride,
Looks
dude.
good to me. So we're gonna try to get it mounted up there and start knocking out this turbo kit. Beautiful. You know, we're a little concerned that this might block some of the airflow going to the prop, but you know, she has pretty good flow going through there. I don't think it's gonna be too much of an issue. So hopefully that doesn't kill any of our performance with it being up there, but I can tell you one thing, that intercooler is gonna stay nice and cool. So we got that on there. That should work. As you saw, we got the radiator. We already went ahead and started doing a couple other things here that we did not film. So we had some pieces of angle iron down here for the existing fuel cell that was in the airboat. We went ahead and got those guys cut out and re-welded the existing ones a little closer together here to accommodate our 20-gallon fuel cell. Then we had to cut some more angle iron out here, and we're going to be mounting the battery off that guy. So back over here, this is our fuel cell. This is the same one that we ran in the Sidekick. So nice little 20-gallon. It fits pretty nice right back here. So we'll have to make some tie downs for this guy. That will sit like so, and then that has a pickup tube built into it already. And then we went ahead and got our inline fuel pump mounted up right under here, going to our fuel filter. And then that guy goes up to a regulator right here. So then we just have to make some lines to, you know, plumb all of that together. We got the intake off of the engine right now as well, because we have a new intake on the way to, you know, redo some of that, because it kind of put the throttle body in a weird place, and there was a whole bunch of stuff on there that we just didn't need. So got a fresh new intake on the way. We'll have to wait till we work on this charge pipe for this side, but we can go ahead and start doing the other charge pipe on that side now that the intercooler's up over there and we got the turbo on. And might as well show you guys some other things that we got. So if you look right here, we are getting ready to mount our electronics down in here. So our guy Ryan made this out of sheet metal, and we're going to be mounting the ECU and most of the electronics in this little sheet metal box right here. We're going to seal it up as best we can, and hopefully no water gets in here, and we got this nice little universal switch panel off of old Amazon. So for $100, we got this guy that has all these fuses built onto this right here, and then that's controlled by this little 8-button switch panel. So we're going to be running all of the Airboat stuff off of this, like the light bar, you know, fuel pump, fans, maybe the starter, all that stuff. Run right off of that guy, nice and simple. I also reached out to K-Tune for a couple of components for the Airboat here. So in this box, we got ourselves the electric water pump kit from K-Tune. So this is the same one that we're running on the MR2 and a lot of the other K-swapped vehicles we have. We have one on the jet boat as well. We're basically copying a lot of things that we did to the jet boat because it applies to this, but this one just has a propeller on it instead of a jet drive. So we got that from K-Tune, and you know, I also asked them for a fuel rail and some small stuff like that, and our guys over at K-Tune always hooking us up. They gave us 4 fuel rails, so we got a whole bunch of fresh K-Tune fuel rails for all the projects. Guys at K-Tune always knows what's up. Those look great. So, you know, they sent us a whole bunch of goodies. Got some fuel rails, billet oil dipsticks, and billet oil caps, all that good stuff. But we have our plate here, and then in this box is our electric water pump. So we're not gonna run the factory style water pump because we have the radiator mounted underneath the engine right there. So it's gonna be a real pain to try to circulate all that water with a factory water pump. So we got the electric one on there. We still have to figure out a way to bleed this system. We'll probably have to put a fill cap like up on this back guy right here since the radiator's so low. But I think that's about the gist of it for right now. We got a lot of little things to work on. We're gonna start making some intercooler piping and just start buttoning all this stuff up. But it shouldn't be too much longer until we can get this thing on the water. Hopefully a few more just solid days of work and we can get to testing it out. So it's been a couple days, but we've got a whole bunch of progress done on the Airboat here. So we got this charge pipe knocked out. We still have to do the other side, which we are getting to. We got a new intake and stuff to show you guys in just a second. We still have to get the exhaust done, but we got the engine completely mounted now. Got bolts ran through the back there. All of our bolts going into the block, so she's nice and solid. We're still talking about adding some extra bracing just to be sure, but it's a lot better now. We got the water pump mounted down here. We got all the lines ran that need to be ran, and then Ryan has been working on all of the electronics inside of this box that I showed a little bit of, but now it is completely done. We have a nice little lid right here. You want to kind of walk them through what you did there?
Yeah, so I mean, we just built the box to try to keep the water out as much as possible. It's not going to be waterproof, it'll be splash proof, but everything's mounted. So I mean, you got the Honda in there. This is that PDM. Pretty easy to install too. It's cheap and it works really well. But everything's mounted, kind of tucked out of the way, cleaned up a little bit. Everything else is wired, so we can test some stuff out.
Yeah, she's just about ready to go. So just like the jet boat, we got our main power switch right here. When you flip that guy, if you look up here, we have this custom standoff built off of the seat here. And we have our switch panel. This is that 8-button switch panel that runs to that fuse box. And this is what controls all of those outputs. We did find out that all of these buttons are on or off. None of these are momentary. So we did have to put a button right here for the starter, for a momentary switch for the starter. And then we have air fuel, and then we're going to add a boost gauge right next to that guy. And if we power this on, this guy lights up. We have, that's our bilge for right now, right?
Yeah, that's bilge.
So we got this fan button going to the bilge pump back there.
No, that's actually, that's your water pump. And,
is that the water pump?
So the sticker kit that they give you with this doesn't really have much for boats. It's mostly for like Jeeps and stuff. So this one that says flood, that's going to be your bilge pump. Just
okay.
In case.
Oh, that makes sense. So
if
if we're getting flooded, you hit the bilge pump. There it goes. So we got ourselves a brand new bilge pump back there. Got the Rule 2000 back there. Hopefully that's enough for when this thing tries to sink. And then the water pump, and then main power, which powers everything else up. You got the fuel pump running.
Yep, so that'll power your fuel pump, your AFR gauge, your tachometer when we get that in there.
Oh yeah, we're still gonna do a little
like
RPM gauge as well.
Yep.
And then you wanna hit this one. This is the only sticker that actually worked for us.
Yeah, really.
We were able to get the light bar working on the Airboat here.
Shoot, look at that thing.
There she is. So she's only 75% working. These LEDs right here are a little dead. They kind of flicker sometimes, but this is the, oh, see, they tried.
Does it work?
It was flickering.
Yeah, you might need to get a headlamp. I don't
Yeah,
think
we'll
that's going to do
see,
much
we'll
good.
see what this one does. But, I mean, I'm surprised it even works considering this has been sitting outside forever.
Yeah.
Light bar seen better days, but it does work. And yeah, she is really close, guys. Let's see what else. We got the wastegate on here as well. So old trusty log manifold, we actually had to modify it. We had to cut this off and turn the wastegate 90 degrees so we could get a good dump on there. So we cut that and re-welded it at 90 degrees, but we got ourselves a nice little gate, got that on there. I'm not sure what spring is in here, so we'll see how much boost this thing makes when the time comes. And then we also got the oil feed going to the turbo. We got the return done, going down to this piece right here. This is from Jack Spania Racing. If you guys remember, I put one of these on the FRS. It makes it so you can do an oil return off a turbo right to the front timing chain cover on the K-Series, and you don't have to pull the pan off and weld a bung to the pan. Super convenient piece right here if you're able to go to the timing cover on the K-Series. We've got the oil sandwich plate feeding the turbo. She is getting very close, boys. And then we just have a couple more things to show you guys. And then after we get the intake manifold done, we still have to get an alternator on there, get some injectors in this thing, and then we just got to get the steering cable. That's the biggest thing that we are missing right now, and a throttle cable, and she's ready to go. But we have two more things to show you guys right over here. So I said we were replacing the intake manifold that was on there, and we got this bad boy right here. So our neighbor actually runs an eBay store called Jack Spania Racing, and he just came out with these custom intake manifolds for a K-Series, and these are actually really freaking nice. This is a full billet flange right here. You can see where the injectors go in, full CNC billet flange, and then that is welded to these runners right here to a nice aluminum sheet metal plenum. That is a very nice piece. He actually stopped by and dropped this guy off for the Airboat, so we are going to try out a intake manifold that is way too nice for our boat on the boat. This thing's probably worth as much as the whole boat was. But got a throttle body on there. We just got a couple holes we got to plug up. It comes with all these holes on the bottom for vacuum lines. Super convenient. But we are just going to get the sensors we need on here real quick, like the TPS and map, and then get everything plugged up that we need to get plugged up. And then this can go onto the engine over there. We have the stock one already pulled off. And then as you guys saw, we got a whole bunch of K-Tune fuel rails. And to go along with those, we're gonna need some injectors. So our friend over at Hunter Tuned came through once again. So the same injectors that we are running on the jet boat and the same injectors that we're running in the K-Swapped FRS that we just gave away, they are both on Hunter Tuned injectors, and they've been working beautifully. And he got us hooked up with another set of 1000cc injectors for the Airboat here. Each one is flow matched within very fine specs of each other, so you know you're getting a matching set of injectors. And we're gonna be putting these suckers on our Airboat and see what happens. So we got our fresh intake, fresh fuel rail, fresh injectors, and we just got to get this stuff installed. And we're about ready to possibly fire this thing up, make sure everything's working. And then once we get a steering cable and a throttle cable, this thing's ready to go. All right, guys, check it out. We got our intake manifold on the Airboat. Looks freaking sweet. We got the injectors from Hunter Tuned on there, and we got our K-Tuned rail. Everything's tight. Ready to prime this thing and see if it starts. So a little sketch. It's still in the shop right now, but I want to make sure it fires over.
Blow things off the wall.
We're going to film this in case something happens. But we just got to make this charge pipe right here go into the intercooler, throttle cable, alternator, just minor things I already talked about, and it is so close. So let's see if it wants to fire up though. Fuel system is primed. Got ourselves a tune loaded up into this thing. Guess here goes nothing. See what happens. Okay, also we do actually have this weird issue where it loses power right when we tap the starter. So I have to crank it and then power everything back on. So we'll address that later, but we'll see if it starts. Are you ready?
Yep.
Oh, it's pretty quiet.
It is quiet.
Throttle blade a little bit.
That's real close to that fan.
Yeah. Let me get a string on there. Good to go.
Perfect. idle though.
Not bad.
No, that's quiet.
Yeah, that's way better with the turbo on there. He's freaking close. So just got to get this thing steering, get the exhaust made, wideband, a couple little things. She's just about there. Definitely got a lot done on it.
Hit the water.
Yep, hopefully it doesn't sink. Got real lucky the
It almost came off.
plate didn't come off because the EGR is right there and that guy was trying to blow off. That would have been the end of our prop. Safety first, boys.